This is an unprepared talk. I have no slides. Google image search will do the job. Does anyone here know what Bitcoin is? You're all technical, so I don't have to explain it. Maybe I do a little bit. Who really knows what Bitcoin is? Who thinks they know everything about it? Someone in the red. Anyway, so basically, it's money on the internet. It's a digital form of money so that you don't have to use dollars or pounds or any of that old-fashioned note stuff and coins. That's what everyone thinks it is, but I'm here to tell you it's not. What it really is a fantastic way to lose all your money. Two. This is my good typing now as well. We'll do that. To thieving bastards. I've lost quite a lot to thieving bastards. I think in one instance I lost $75,000. Another one, $40,000. Another one, about $70,000 again. Friends of mine lost about $500,000. Two friends of mine lost about $500,000. Client of mine's lost over $1 million. It's a brilliant way to lose money. To be fair, none of us put that much in. We put a reasonable amount, but nowhere near that much, and we still have more left. But it's not a particularly good advert for the money that everyone wants us to use. More importantly, Bitcoin is not just a fantastic way to lose money. It's a way to really piss off the government. They don't like us using Bitcoin either, and so you get arrested. Oops. These are not... What's that? Seriously? Evil Elmo! If they arrest Evil Elmo, he probably used Bitcoin, probably bought drugs on the Silk Road. That's what I reckon. There is more seriously, most people have heard of Bitcoin. You're techers, so you do know what it is. But actually, most people still think it's just a way to use money on the internet. And I kind of want you to know, because most of you make cool stuff, much cooler than I do. I make games, but I don't play with gadgets and things, and I can't dance. I mean, like, I'm not even going to try and dance. I'm not called Jeff. I'm sorry. There's probably more Alexes in the room. Any Alexes in the room? Yes! My name is Alex. Welcome to my social network. Bitcoin's also a technology, and that's really, really important, because if you're making stuff, it's going to actually be useful in the future if your stuff can communicate with other things and actually send them not just money, but maybe a key. So it could be a key to open your fridge, which is a slightly esoteric kind of idea. More importantly, it could be the key to open a car or a safe. Bitcoin can actually act as that key, and you can send it to people without anyone getting in the way, without anyone cloning it, without anyone doing anything obscure to it. It's a completely unique way to be able to transfer something on the internet in a way that no one can copy it. Unlike an MP3, which we all download and share all the time, I'm sure. Look for another one. Remember that. It's a crime. Don't pirate MP3s. Just because I do, don't copy me. So Bitcoin can actually, it's not going to stop piracy. I think actually you're just going to pay for your pirated software and pirated films with Bitcoin. But if you're actually making stuff, you can transfer unique tokens, which can be keys. And that it's a slightly odd thing, but because no one's ever had this opportunity before, it's going to be interesting to see what people come up with. And I'm going to give you an example, although this is related to money, and I'm going to relate it to Jeff, and I'm sorry. Bitcoin allows me to play with money in ways that no one could ever play with it before. And I can actually have a computer send money around and restrict money and control it. Now, Jeff mentioned using Kickstarter to raise money to go to San Francisco and have a holiday, travel the mountains with Alex, I don't know. The problem is, if I fund Jeff, because I think Jeff's a cool guy, maybe I'm called Jeff myself and I want this social network, how do I know Jeff's actually not just going to go for a nice holiday? How do I know he's really going to do it? If you have your Kickstarter campaign right now, I'll give you my $20. That's better than the $70,000 I lost in Bitcoin, to be fair. I'll give you my money. But how do I know you're going to use it properly? I don't. You could be anyone. You might not even be called Jeff, for all I know. You've got evidence, passport? Seriously? Like, okay, so but what you can do with new forms of crowdfunding is if you don't use Kickstarter, but say a new site which some of us might be working on, you could raise your $20,000 on there to get your little documentary to go to San Francisco and so on. But instead of you just being given all the money and left to your own devices, we can restrict you. So you then raise your $20,000 from people like me and other Jeffs in the world, and maybe a few Alexes. And then you have to ask permission to use it. So you can say, I want to go on a flight to San Francisco because I'm going to meet Jeff. I'm going to stay with an Alex, but that's fine. I'm going to meet Jeff. And then we actually have to go, as the people who crowdfunded you, we have to say, yes, we believe you're going to go to San Francisco. Go buy your ticket. And when you get there, let's say you want to hire a film crew. And you say, that's going to cost $10,000. What if we don't believe you? We can go, no, you're not having that $10,000. In fact, we don't believe you at all. We're just going to have all our money back. And we can just press the big red button, pull it all back. And that allows crowdfunded projects to actually have an element of control from the funders instead of the fundee just being able to run away with all the money. Now, you can't do that on Kickstarter. You can't do it on Indiegogo. You can't do it using any traditional crowdfunding system. And it's the technology that Bitcoin allows that lets us write programs to allow this sort of novel innovation to happen. And that's sort of a project that I'm kind of working on. That's it, really. I just want you to kind of understand that Bitcoin is a lot more than just this money you can send around and buy drugs with. And I'm going to end it on that. Lots of drugs, lots of drugs. Next. Any questions? Bitcoin is safe, but using an online exchange run by a thief is not. Sorry, did I say that? Using an online exchange running by someone who is inappropriate and actually just not very good at their job and likes cats a lot, that doesn't work either. Any other questions? I lost some money in Gox, but I knew what I was doing. I took a risk on something. Lost money in some investments and some hacks that were not of my doing. But you live and learn. It's always been very difficult to secure. That is now changing. The Bitcoin network itself is actually very, very safe, but it's just the way that Bitcoin has been used has been very, very poor. And now we're going through a year of infrastructure change. So this time next year, Bitcoin itself will be so much easier to use for everyone to secure, and should also be a bit more stable value-wise, I hope. But we shall see. It's probably 5 to 10 years from being mainstream, and there's a lot more development to go on Bitcoin and Bitcoin-like technologies. It's eventually going to lead to Skynet, by the way. You think I'm joking, but it's really not. The Bitcoin 2.0 technologies actually will allow you to run Turing-complete programs in the cloud, essentially. They cannot be stopped. And I mean that. They cannot be stopped. They can spend money. They can issue commands. They cannot be stopped. This is happening. Sorry? Guy mentioned applications with 3D printers. Yes, people are going to hook all sorts of things together. Self-replication with 3D printers. So basically, Bitcoin is essentially going to enable robots to control the world, replicate themselves, murder us all in our sleep. It's all right because Jeff's going to save us. Any other questions? Right, next.